Peace and high frequencies, everybody. I want to go over the fact that there is levels to awakening. There's levels to enlightenment, and there is different journeys for different people. We all know everybody is different, right? Now, one of the things in this reality, in this realm, that each of us have is a connection to, all of us who have a soul have a connection to the divine. Secondly, we have a connection to the spirit in which we decide we want to house in this physical form as well. And then we also have DNA that creates like our genotype. That DNA creates a phenotype. That phenotype connects us, and that genotype connects us to our culture. And it then connects us to our family and our tribe. Now, located in particular areas, like here in Western society, or here just in this world period. I won't even just say Western society. I just say in this world period. Because now we have been divided into classes in a caste system, which was created by the Arabs or the Arabic nations. We have now a caste system or a class system, right? And each one of us, we also are broken down to socioeconomic statuses. I'll get into that later. But one of those things that cannot be denied here in this Western society and in this culture, I don't know why I keep saying Western society, I'm just going to say in this world, you can't deny is your phenotype. You see it. You know, it'd be people that be like, I don't see color. Be like, how can you not? Now, you can say, I won't and I don't judge people or prejudge people or stereotype people based on, their color. But, we have a spectrum of colors and wavelengths that we see color. I see somebody that is, Hispanic. I see someone who is European. I see my brothers and sisters who are African. Right? So I see them. It just depends on how you choose to move, in your mind based on the phenotype of a person. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that each culture, each individual is connected to a culture. There is work to do at the cultural level. I know there are people who always talk about, love, light, woo, 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 all of that. Most of the time, those are people who are white, European, who don't want to atone for the lies and the slaughtering and the killing and everything that their ancestors have done. We can't just sweep that shit under the rug. You got to go back and do the work. You got to apologize. And the fact that is no apology is the upholding of white supremacy. And now, as spiritual beings, we understand karma. We should also understand dharma, right? What our destiny is moving forward in this physical form. And I'm breaking it down into levels because I want you all to understand that enlightenment from the perspective as a Black person goes deeper, because a lot of the information that has been given to us have been lies, and we've been stripped and taken of our culture, of our language, of our flag, of our country, whether we're indigenous to this land here in the Western world society, or those who were brought over. I believe that majority of us were already here in this land. I can't even call it America because that wasn't the name for this place. Okay? So those of us who are indigenous to this land, who we are the Native Americans or Indians. I like to say indigenous or indigo people who were already here. We have a deeper need to do work on another level that is separate from other cultures who didn't have their language, their culture, their families, everything stripped from them. Everything. Everything stolen and taken. And starting in ancient Kemet, which ancient Kemet was born out of Ethiopia. You know, we were a people who had a lot of things already in place. And it was taken. It was taken by force. And so there are a lot of things that we have to do on the level of our phenotype and our culture and our family first. And that's not to say that we dislike or are feeling different to other cultures, because it has nothing to do with that. But there can't be a coming together and a kumbaya until, from my perspective, apologies are given. You know, I feel like other cultures don't have a problem with doing yoga and Reiki and, you know, spiritual practices and sound bowls, and, you know, they don't mind learning doing tarot, and they don't mind learning how to do divination. They don't mind doing all of that. They don't mind doing, you know, the fluffy work, I would call it, of spirituality or working with the divine in that aspect. But you also work with the divine when you denounce white supremacy. And when I say white supremacy, that's a spirit, that's a mindset, that is an energy. That's an energy. White supremacy is an energy. And when you just want to go right into, I'm going to go into, you know, Taoism, or I'm going to study Hinduism, or I'm going to, you know, go into, you know, tarot reading and Reiki and doing all of that, and you don't address the fact of white supremacy mindset that you're upholding as a white person, first of all, and then as a black person, we uphold it through our religious practices. If we know at least one person, one elder in our family that still call themselves a Christian. I don't subscribe to any religion. None. At all. None of it. None of it. The part that really hurts and breaks my heart is the lies of Christianity. And not just the lies, but, you know, because it wasn't like they gave us a lie. We just took it and was like, oh, okay, we're going to believe in it now. This shit was forcefully done. You die. You gonna die. Constantine wasn't playing with that ass. You gonna die. You gonna believe this or you gonna die. And if you spread anything other than this, you gonna die. You gonna convert to this or you gonna die. I mean, it was really hardcore. So we have healing work to do. My people have healing work to do. And we have to heal first from the lie. the Jesus lie, the Christianity lie, the biblical lies that we really don't even know how to read correctly. We don't even know what they're talking about because it's so much Masonic and astrological language and metaphors that's in there. It's so many lies that we're having to heal from. But it's even at a point where how does healing begin? Healing can only begin when the person who issued you the trauma apologizes. The person who traumatized you. When healing goes so much smoother if the person who attacked you would come out and apologize for it. If the person who traumatized you or who caused you grief or pain that you still have triggers from in your life never comes and acknowledges or takes any accountability, it makes healing harder. It makes healing harder. And that's what I'm trying to say. We take accountability that our ancestors were prisoners of war. We take that. We understand that crack cocaine was put in our community with guns. You know, that was a game plan. We understand that there has been a worldwide attack on the African man and woman. And that was through the LGBTQ community. That's an attack. They dropping LGBTQ in the community on TV in front of our children's face on Disney Channel, using Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, and they little thing that they got. They done made this child into a whole girl. So the black family can say it's okay if their little boy or little girl come home and want to be another gender. They're forcing it. These are games, y'all. This is a game. But what do you do? What do you do when the person who issued the trauma still perpetuates and refuses to apologize, but they'll want to take and play with all your divination tools? They want to take and play with all your divination tools. They want to learn voodoo. They want to learn hoodoo. They want to learn how to African dance. They want to go over to Africa. They want to learn sound bowls. They want to learn all healing modalities. They want to be interpreters. They want to be oracles. They want to do all this. They want to use all the tools and the magic that you have. But they don't want to apologize. They want to get in a circle, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and smoke a joint. No, it don't work like that. They want to hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and do mushrooms. And travel to other dimensions. No, you're not traveling to other dimensions with me. You have to apologize. It's so many different levels. And the biggest thing is that once that is done, that breaks off so much of a layer of things that are going on in the spiritual realm. Because, see, the goal is for us to all come together and not see each other as anything other than one. Because we are one. That's the goal. But the fact that so many other things have been done, we have to get to a point where we can break all of that off. And I understand for everybody's individual. And for me, individual, I can ascend. I still can ascend without the apology. But I'm looking at my people as a whole. And I'm looking at the energy of what was done that's still a stronghold in the lives of my people that I'm connected to by genotype, by culture, by phenotype, through DNA. My people are still served a lie. My people are still based on a caste system. My people still only own 1, maybe 2% of wealth in the world. My people still spend trillions of dollars, spending trillions of dollars, especially this time of year. We spend trillions of dollars every year. We are the most studied, yet we are the most hated, and they refuse to give us what we are due. And I'm not just talking about in terms of reparations, because that's a whole different conversation. But it first comes with accountability. And what I'm talking about, and a lot of people be like, well, we have to get over that. It did happen. And, we are all from the divine and blah, blah, blah. But even with your spiritual journey, even when you do psychedelics, even in the dream space, guess what? You have to do the dark night of the soul. Nobody gets past that work. When you go through your enlightenment journey, you have to go through the dark night of the soul. You got to. You got to go back and look at those things that cause you trauma and heal it. So, I don't understand why a whole group of white people who call themselves on their spiritual journey, I have never heard any of them say on their spiritual journey, on their dark night of the soul or anything, that they apologize for the pain, suffering, killing, and murders that their ancestors did to my ancestors or our ancestors, to the Africans or to the indigenous people. I've never heard not one white person say that. Not one. I ain't heard one. If y'all don't heard one white person say that, please share it with me. Please. They'll talk about astrology, astronomy, divination, sound bowls. They'll talk about everything else. They'll do mushrooms with you. They'll smoke a joint. They'll do all of that. But they never talk about what their ancestors did. They don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it. They act like it's a secret, but it ain't. Because we still suffer from it. Black people don't have a problem with talking about how their ancestors were enslaved, how we can't trace our heritage. Guess what? Every black person, damn near, here in the corporation of the United States, who've been here, ancestors are here, we were prisoners, our ancestors are prisoners of war. If you listen to this right now, think about this. What's your last name? Just look at it. Just think about, have that in the back of your mind. Your last name. Your last name is what's been passed down from generation to generation, right? Now, as a black person, your last name came from the location or who you were owned by, who you were a prisoner, who your ancestors were prisoners of war by. You took on their last name to show ownership. Our names were taken. Once we were prisoners of war here, they took our names. So your last name, Jackson or Taylor or Johnson or Jones or Smith or whatever it is. It's a white name. It's a European name. It was not an indigenous last name. It's not an African last name unless you changed it, which a lot of our people are getting to, changing of their last name and going back to their indigenous names, which is beautiful, right? And that's why on here, I go by Blackfoot Witch. I get my name from the divine. right? On social media, I go by a totally different name because I get my information from the divine. When the divine energy tells me to call myself, that's what I have to go through. Because guess what? We were stolen. Now, even to get our records back, they make you pay for it. I've had to go back and use Ancestry to track back my family all the way to the 1800s. Now, it's unfortunate. We had a list that my great-grandfather had that my uncle ended up letting somebody steal, take the house, and took all of our information that my great-grandfather had. It's unfortunate we have these type of people in our family, but it's the work that we have to go back and do for our children. And then just for ourselves. A country, if you are a people without a flag, who said it? Was it Marcus Garvey? You are no a people without a flag. If you don't have a flag, you aren't a people. You aren't recognized as a nation. You can go and ask any white person right now their last name, right? And then you'll ask them, oh, where is that from? They'll tell you. They'll tell you what country they came from and where their great-great-grandparents came from and when they came over here and all of that. They can tell you. Their parents got all the information. Their parents weren't stripped like we were. And they weren't prisoners of war. So at the 3D level, because like I said, there are levels. And today I'm talking about the 3D phenotype DNA level. And at that level, if you are a white person listening to this, or even not, it doesn't matter. Indigenous people of this land, and even the Africans who believe they were brought over, who were prisoners of war, deserve an apology, especially for those white people who so-call themselves enlightened. How can you use the word enlightened as a white person and you are not pushing apology to the very people that your ancestors stole from? So yeah, that's just my that's just what I wanted to share and pull out. Like I say on this channel, it's gonna be dreams, it's gonna be channeling, and whatever is given to me to share from the divine energy, I share from the divine energy, because I was getting ready to roll back over and it was on me like, no, put this out there. Somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to hear it, because I've had it before where I've had individuals, white people, to say, hey, I don't see why we just can't love. Baby, we can't love right now. Yes, we have love in our hearts. Yes, we have love for you, but that isn't being reciprocated. And we're here on this planet to show that we can love. But you have to first do your part. You don't want to do your part in the love relationship, right? It's just like being in a relationship or being married and you constantly giving and giving and giving and you loving that the other person is not. Then you're going to feel like you're being taken advantage of. You're soon going to leave that relationship, or the relationship is going to be torn apart because you feel like you aren't being reciprocated the same love that you are putting out. It's not right. That isn't balance. That isn't balance. You learn on your enlightenment journey about balance, just like I was talking about the dark night of the soul. It has to be revealed. You have to reveal it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It has to come out. And it's not enough Black people or indigenous people, whatever you want to call yourself. There's not enough of us out here telling them that they have to do this. And I feel like we don't in the YouTube or social media space because of what they may think or how they may feel, or we may try to act like we're above that now that we're conscious that, we are, and that's okay if that's how you feel. I can't knock how somebody feel because I don't know your journey. I don't know your journey. All right. And that's why I really enjoy watching, Dr. Mumba over in Kenya. I really enjoy her channel because she understands and she pushes. There's levels, right? And it has nothing to do with them, but there is a whole nation, a world of African indigenous people who we aren't targeting our healing. And ain't nobody else gonna do it. We have to do it for ourselves. That's why Blackfeet Witch is targeting for us to do the healing work. This is not a channel for white people. This is not a channel for anybody who feel like they're biracial and they don't understand the black culture. It's not for you. This is not for you. My people need truth. My people need healing. Now my people have to break off the veil of lies that have been pushed to their ancestors, and they are changing. They are breaking generational curses right now. And so this is for them. I've talked to them. We have suppressed our dreams. We have, black people, we dream. We have gifts. We have a multitude of gifts. And I'm here because mine as a little girl were getting suppressed. So I'm like, shit. My channeled information as a little girl were suppressed. So now I have the opportunity to share my dreams and share my channeling with other people who go through the same thing, who've been through the same thing, who grew up, Christian or Kojic or Baptist or whatever. And now you come into awakening and you've done the work and you've been through it. It's like, let me share this. And whether I have one person, I've always said this. I don't care if it's one person that listens to this. If it's one person, I am grateful for that one person that listens to this. Because I feel like one person touches 100. I've always felt like that. Even when I was teaching, as a teacher, I feel like if I could get through to one student, that one student can change 100 people's lives. That one student can talk to 100 people. So one person has the opportunity to talk to 100 people. They have access to that through their energy. And through, if their energy does the work, we've talked about the toroidal field. They got the opportunity to touch more than that and thousands of people just through your energy field. And so that's how we are able to change worlds. Me putting this out, again, no happenstance. Me sharing this is going to start being an awakening within the white culture and they were going to start to apologize. They're going to start revealing the pain that lies within what their ancestors did and how they are still receiving the benefits of that. I was even talking about the gold rush. Don't you know how many white people benefited from the gold rush? We were here. That was our goal. Wasn't no gold rush. It was a gold rush for them. We already had the gold. We were here in America with the gold. But for them, they didn't know about for this. So them, it was a gold rush. They come stealing, shooting, killing, going back to where they come. It was a gold rush. We already knew it was gold here. And so we still have, I talked to this Italian I knew a couple of years ago. We did contracting work together. When I was in the roof, well, I still do a little roofing, but when I was in the roofing business hard. And he was telling me about his uncle who got so much money from the gold rush, who, went and got gold and, took it, and he still a multi-millionaire from the gold rush. From stealing. So basically, you sitting here telling me how your uncle stole and benefit off of our land. Yeah. While we were prisoners of war, y'all stole. Yeah, so it's so much, and it goes so deep. I can go to the religion, to the Jesus bullshit, to the gold rush bullshit, to the prisoners of war. So much. The flag, the Bible, the money system, the currency, the dollar that we use with their ancestors on it. It's just so much. It goes so deep. And sometimes with my people, because it has been going so deep for so long, we'll overlook the spell work. We'll overlook the spiritual energy that still hangs over our people, that we utilize and we raise up, because we're just caught up in the right now, or we're so caught up in, divination or the basic bullshit of tarot, or the astrology piece of the emotional aspect of career, love, money, that type of stuff, when we have to look at the culture as well. So I hope this makes sense to those who listen. If not, it's okay. If it doesn't make sense to you, I hope you're not listening anymore. If it does make sense to you, then I hope you do as you will with this information. And, really understand from the genealogical aspect, where we are, where we've been as indigenous people, and what we deserve and what we should be given. And even if you have friends who are of other culture, especially white, share with them. Be like, ask them, how do you feel about your ancestors, who were here? Because, everybody, grandparents didn't just migrate over here a couple years ago. A lot of the white people ancestors are already here. So you're going to tell me, out of all of y'all, everybody just migrated over. Yeah, they just got here. They did. Because when I talk to white people, they be quick to say that, oh, my great-grandparents, they migrated over here, and they started, they pulled themselves up from their bootstrap. They got started. They always say that. It's hard to believe, especially with me being in the South. Like, well, none of y'all own no slaves. Okay. We're still in denial. We still don't want to own up to it, but yet every day you wake up, you get to benefit. You get to benefit. And they don't want to lose that benefit. They'll give it to the LGBTQ, but they don't want us to benefit. Think about that. If they so enlightened, why? Why won't you do that? You so enlightened, but you push LGBTQ, but you don't push for black people. I don't even want to talk about no BIPOC and people of color. Fuck that. Black people. Black people. You don't want black people to benefit. I want black people to benefit. I want black people to have rights. I want black people to get reparations. I ain't saying no people of color. I ain't fighting for them. I'm fighting for black people because nobody else does. So, I'll leave you with that. I'm leaving peace and, of course, always high frequencies.